Okay, so quick one today, just how the queen moves. And although she's the most powerful piece on the board, it shouldn't take very long to learn how she moves, because what she does is combine the moves of the rook and the bishop. She can't, however, jump over things like the knight. And what you'll find with the queen is that she'll tend to stay close to home until the middle game or the end game, just because otherwise she'll get annoyed by weaker enemy pieces. So if I attack your queen with a pawn or a knight, you kind of have to move the queen. So that's fine. She can be lethal at any time, though, because of her range. And just as a point of interest, so in the original versions of chess, the queen wasn't actually the queen. It was known as the king's advisor. But I think it's quite good that we've got a queen on the board in this modern world. And as I say, it's the most powerful piece on the board. So let's see how she moves. So the queens will begin the game on their own coloured square. So if you've set the board up correctly, the white queen on D1 will be on a white square and the black queen on D8 on a black square. And value-wise, though we'll look at the strength of the pieces later on, but generally the queen is maybe slightly weaker than two rooks together, but it's pretty close. Roughly the same as having two bishops and a knight. Possibly slightly better than two knights and a bishop, but it all kind of, it's rough, and it all kind of depends on what the rest of the board looks like. But she's pretty tough and is the strongest piece on the board. And you can tell that from the diagram with all these different X's and dots. The queens have an awful lot of moves that they can make. So the black queen there, you can see all the X's on the board. So she's got all of these ones in the straight lines that replicate the rook moves. Up and down and side to side. And she's got these diagonal ones, in this case on the black squares, the black diagonal there as well. Of course, she can't go to h7, she can't take her own pawn, and she can't get to c3, c2, c1 because the white pawn's in the way. Of course, she could take the white pawn on c4. And here's the white queen. All of the black dots show where she can go. And again, so we've got the straight lines that replicate the rook move, up, down, side to side. And these diagonal ones, in this case on a white squares, diagonal things that the queen can do. But of course, the white queen can't jump her own pawn to get to c5, c6, c7, c8, or h2. And she could, of course, take the black pawn on h7. So let's see some arrows for all of that. There's an awful lot of possibilities for the queen. So when the queen is out and about, you really have to keep your eyes open to what she can do. So quick question here, why would the white queen not be advised to capture the black pawn on h7? So if white plays queen takes h7, it's probably a mistake. And obviously because the black queen can swoop across there and land on h7, and you don't want to be losing a pawn for a queen. That usually means you're going to lose the game. Same with the black queen, doesn't really want to be taking the white pawn on c4, because of course the white queen would recapture. So back to pawn wars, just to get used to using the queen. You'll probably find here that the game ends very, very, very quickly. And my instinct is that the advantage of going first will be huge for white here, because he'll immediately be able to, she'll be immediately be able to attack all the black pawns before the black queen gets a chance to defend them. But if you try it with other combinations of pieces, so you can see the diagram, queen, a bishop and knight, or queen, bishop, rook against queen, rook, knight, these kind of combinations, then at least there's other pieces that can defend the pawns and get involved in the game. But give it a go with different combinations, and that should do it with learning how the queen moves.